Welcome to Geopolitics Hub, your go-to destination for insightful analysis and discussions on South Asia geopolitics. I'm your host, Ashok Swan, and I'm excited to bring you the latest updates and an in-depth coverage on the region's political, economic, and social developments. Whether you're a student, a professional, or simply someone interested in understanding the dynamics of this fascinating region, you've come to the right place. Join me as we explore the complexities and nuances of South Asia geopolitics and gain a deeper understanding of the forces shaping the future of the region. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for our upcoming videos. This is a new world, President Joe Biden declared when justifying his pullout from Afghanistan and explaining his administration's war on global terrorism in an August 31st speech. It will go well beyond Afghanistan, he alerted the world, focusing on the threats of 2021 and tomorrow. The president will not have to look too far. Bordering Afghanistan, now again under Taliban rule, is Pakistan, one of America's oddest allies. Governed by a shaky coalition of ineffective politicians and trained military leaders trying desperately to contain the challenge of domestic terrorism, Pakistan may be the best definition yet of a highly combustible threat that, if left unchecked, might lead to the nightmare of nightmares. Jihadis taking control of a nuclear weapons arsenal of something in the neighborhood of 200 warheads. Ever since May 1998, when Pakistan first began testing nuclear weapons, claiming its national security demanded it, American presidents have been haunted by the fear that Pakistan's stockpile of nukes would fall into the wrong hands. That fear now includes the possibility that jihadis in Pakistan, freshly inspired by the Taliban victory in Afghanistan, might try to seize power at home. Trying, of course, is not the same as succeeding. If history is a reliable guide, Pakistan's professional military would almost certainly respond, and in time probably succeed, but only after the floodgates of a new round of domestic warfare between the government and extremist gangs has been opened, leaving Pakistan again shaken by political and economic uncertainty. And when Pakistan is shaken, so too is India, its less than neighborly rival and nuclear competitor. Pakistani jihadis come in many different shapes and sizes, but no matter, the possibility of a nuclear-armed terrorist regime in Pakistan has now grown from a fear into a strategic challenge that no American president can afford to ignore. Former President Barack Obama translated this challenge into carefully chosen words: the single biggest threat to U.S. security, both short-term, medium-term, and long-term, he asserted, would be the possibility of a terrorist organization obtaining a nuclear weapon. Authors italics. The nation that has both nuclear weapons and a dangerous mix of terrorists was, and remains, Pakistan. No problem really. Pakistan's political and military leaders have quickly assured a succession of anxious presidents. Whether it be Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan, the Haqqani Network, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Tehreek-e-Labbaik, Al-Qaeda, or the Afghan Taliban's Quwat Ashura, these terrorist organizations have always been under our constant surveillance, checked and rechecked. We keep a close eye on everything, even the Islamic madrasas, where more than 2 million students are more likely studying Sharia law than economics or history. We know who these terrorists are and what they're doing, and we're ready to take immediate action. These official assurances have fallen largely on deaf ears at the White House, principally because one president after another has learned from American intelligence that these same Pakistani leaders have often been working surreptitiously with the terrorists to achieve common goals. One such goal was the recent defeat of the Kabul regime, which had been supported by the U.S. for 20 years. During this time, victorious Taliban secretly received political and military support from Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence (ISI) agency. Shortly after 9/11, for example, the terrorist mastermind, Osama bin Laden, escaped U.S. capture, in part because sympathetic of IC colleagues. Bin Laden fled to the one place where his security could be assured, Pakistan. In 2011, when the U.S. finally caught up with bin Laden and killed him, Obama chose not to inform Pakistani leaders of the super-secret operation, even though the target was down the street from a Pakistani military academy, fearful that once again bin Laden would be tipped off and escape. The U.S. has learned over the years not to trust Pakistan, realizing that a lie here and there might be part of the diplomatic game, but that this level of continuing deception was beyond acceptable bounds. That Pakistan was also known to have helped North Korea and Iran develop their nuclear programs has only deepened the distrust. Indeed, since the shock of 9/11, Pakistan has come to represent such an exasperating problem that the U.S. has reportedly developed a secret plan to arbitrarily seize control of Pakistan's nuclear arsenal if a terrorist group in Pakistan seemed on the edge of capturing some or all of its nuclear warheads. When repeatedly questioned about the plan, U.S. Officials have strung together an artful, if unpersuasive, collection of no comments. Even though U.S. economic and military aid has continued to flow into Pakistan, reaching $4.5 billion in fiscal 2010, though on other occasions capriciously cut, America's concerns about Pakistan's stability and reliability have only worsened. Since the debacle in Afghanistan, and Pakistan's barely disguised role in it, serious questions have been raised about America's embarrassing predisposition to look the other way whenever Pakistan has been caught with its hand in a terrorist's cookie jar. How long can America look the other way? The anguishing problem for the Biden administration is now coming into sharper focus, even if the president decided to challenge Pakistan's dangerous flirtation with domestic and regional terrorism. What specific policies could he adopt that would satisfy America's obvious desire to disengage from Afghan-like civil wars without at the same time getting itself involved in another nation's domestic struggles with terrorists? Disengagement has become the name of the game in Washington. One approach, already widely discussed, is that the U.S. can contain the spread of terrorism in South Asia by relying on its over-the-horizon capabilities. Though almost every senior official, including Biden, has embraced this approach, it's doubtful they really believe it's a viable substitute for boots on the ground. Another possibility would be the Central Intelligence Agency striking a new under-the-table deal with the IC that would set new goals and guidelines for both services to cooperate more aggressively in the war against domestic and regional terrorism. Unfortunately, prospects for such expanded cooperation, though rhetorically appealing, are actually quite slim. Veterans of both services shake their heads, reluctantly admitting it is unrealistic, given the degree of distrust on both sides. But even if Biden, despite knowing better, decided to continue to look the other way, hoping against hope that Pakistan would be able to contain the terrorists and keep them from acquiring nuclear warheads, he will find that Prime Minister Imran Khan is not a ready and eager ally, if he ever was one. Lately he's been painting the Biden administration as damaged goods after its hurried exit from Afghanistan. And he has been rearranging Pakistan's regional relationships by strengthening his ties with China and extending a welcoming hand to Russia. Also, Khan may soon discover that his pro-Taliban policy runs the risk of backfiring and inspiring Pakistani terrorists to turn against him. To whom would he then turn for help? Khan, who won his mandate in 2018, surely knows by now that he runs a decidedly unhappy country, beset by major economic and political problems, waves of societal corruption and the no-nonsense challenge coming from domestic terrorists eager to impose a severe Islamic code of conduct on the Pakistani people. 64% of the population are under the age of 30 and more desirous of iPhones and apps than of religious zealotry. Pakistan is a looming problem with no satisfactory solutions. For Biden, no matter what policies he pursues, it remains a recurring nightmare. The stuff of a paperback thriller, a scary mix of terrorists who may one day be able to seize power and, with it, control over the nation's stockpile of nuclear warheads, all of this happening in a shaky, strategically located country that was once an ally. Since the American withdrawal from Afghanistan, geostrategic relationships on the Asian subcontinent have been undergoing important changes. Pakistan has tilted its future towards a closer relationship with China, while its principal adversary, India, has tightened its ties to the United States, both of them sharing an already deep distrust of China. In this increasingly uneasy atmosphere, the U.S. remains concerned about Pakistan's nuclear stockpile falling into terrorist hands. If this seemed to be happening, the U.S. would feel the need to intervene militarily to stop it. Pakistan would likely turn to China for help, setting the stage for the U.S. and China, because of Pakistan's nukes, to head towards a direct and possibly deadly confrontation which neither superpower wants or